Functions are an incredibly important concept and tool that computer programmers use all the time. They were invented by Lord Chester Funnington back in 1843. Well, that's a lie, but what isn't a lie is how much time and effort they can save us when we're programming. So, what are functions? A function is a mini program within your main program or your bigger program. That mini program, the function, only has one job to do. So imagine that your overall big program that you're writing is like a house. There's tons of stuff in it, like people, pets, furniture. Well, a function is like a little brother or sister. Its only job is to annoy you, and that's it. A function only has one job in that big program that you're writing. It could be for someone to enter text in. It could be a well-designed background. There's really limitless possibilities for what they can do and how many we can use in our program. So let's take a look at making and using a function. Okay, now that we've gone over what functions are, we're going to go ahead and try to make one and use it in our own program. So here I have code for a day at the beach. I have a beautiful sand, I have some water, and I have a hideously ugly neon green boat out there. Well, here is all the code that I used to make the boat. Now, if I wanted to make more boats, it would take me a while to recreate all of this unless I create a function. So remember, a function's just a mini program within the bigger program. So the way that I like to do is I like to make my my object for, okay, now that we know what functions are, we're going to go ahead and see if we can make one and put it into our own program. So here we are at the beach. Got some sand, we have the water, and the most hideous boat that's ever been created. As you can see, my boat is made up of a rectangle, a couple of triangles, a rectangle for the mast, a triangle for the sail. And if I wanted to make one over here or over here, it would take me a couple of minutes to make each one. And that's kind of wasted time because I can just turn this sailboat into its own function and then call it and place it wherever I want to. So after I've made the original, what I'm going to do is turn this into a function. So I'm going to go down here and remember, we're basically making it a variable here that we're going to name it. So I'm going to call mine var sailboat, and that's going to equal a function. And then I have open and close parentheses, and we'll go over that later. And then a curly brace to start and a curly brace at the end. And oh my gosh, the sailboat has been sunk. Apparently I made the Titanic. Well, why did it disappear? Well, I have all the code here. Where did it go? Well, by putting it into a function, it essentially, and you can see we can kind of close it up here. This is just directions for the computer of how to make my sailboat. So all of this as a function tells the computer, hey, when I run this, this is how you make a sailboat. Well, the only problem is we haven't actually called it. So if I want that sailboat to reappear, I'm going to simply call the variable, open and close parentheses, and voila, it's there. Okay. Now, if I call it again, it's there. Okay. It's just one right on top of the other. So right now, this function is only good for making a sailboat and putting it right here. So the question is, well, what if I want a sailboat here or a sailboat here? Or maybe the ships are aground and I want it here. Well, what do we do then? Well, to do that, what we have to do is start using variables within the function. And these are going to be called local variables. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to just get rid of calling that right now. And in the parentheses is where we're going to put that local variable. Now, if I want to change it by the X and the Y, I need to add those variables. And remember, we can call this anything we want. Now, I'm just going to simply do X and Y. Okay. Well, what are they equal to? Well, that's a whole other issue. So let's look. I'm going to go down to the first shape I made. And it was a rectangle, and it's really easy here. It's located at 200 across, 200 down. So I'm going to make a little note to myself as I start working on this, that x and y equal 200. Okay, so I'm going to make a variable for my x and for my y. And you notice it's not giving, oh no's isn't like yelling at me yet because I haven't called anything. And it knows, hey, it's got an x and y variable here, and he's going to start placing them. Now remember with the triangle, a lot of people get confused. There's like 6 numbers in there. What do they all mean? Well, remember they go in pairs. So this is my first coordinate because you're just connecting the dots. My first coordinate, x and y. Then this one would be my second x, second y, third x, third y. So this one, x, 200. 200 is going to become x, and the first dot, the first coordinate for that corner is going to be y. Okay. Now again, this is my x. 200 is going to be x. Oh, now I get 220. So now I have to do a little math here. So this one, because it's my y coordinate for the second corner, it's going to become y plus 20. And then here, 180, if I know x is equal to 200, well, this is going to have to be x minus 20. And this, for y, will simply be y. Oh boy, another triangle. Well, we're getting good at this. Our first point, x plus 50, so that equals 250. This is simply going to be y. This is going to be x plus 50, because remember, this is my second point. Here's my second point y variable, y plus 20, 270. So that's going to be if x is 200, that's just going to be x plus 70. And this becomes y. Again, they're all in pairs. The coordinate of the first vertex, second, third. Use this. Remember, this thing's here to be your friend. So if you get confused with what those numbers are, they will tell you. And I go down here, again, here's my x. That's going to become x plus, don't want that capitalized, x plus 20. And let's see, if y was 200 and this is 160, y minus 40. Okay, and remember in the rectangle, we're not touching these. It's just telling us how long they are and how wide and how tall they are. Don't need to do it for the fill. Oh boy, another triangle. First vertex, x plus 30 is going to be y minus 40, x plus 30, let's see, y minus 10, x plus 61, and y minus 10. So as you can see, just making that and just changing all the variables took me a while. Imagine if I wanted to make like 4 or 5 different sailboats out here. How long that would take me. So now my function, I've given the computer directions of how to make it. But before the computer can make it, it's going to require me to tell it, hey, where are the x and y? So I'm going to go ahead and do sailboat. And again, if I do this, there's nothing there because I haven't given the computer the directions of what x is equal to and what y is equal to. So if I wanted it back where it was, oh my gosh, there it is. Now I can go ahead and make tons of different ones. So this one I'm going to put at, let's see, 100 over, how about 100 down? There you go. Oh, that's kind of blending in there. So I'm going to just move him down a little bit. And now I can just go over here. This one's going to be at like 300, 250, 250 I said. There you go. Awesome. So there you can see I'm kind of building my own armada. So again, it took me a little bit of time to create this function. But as soon as I did, it's so easy just to call them and have these things pop up the more you want. Remember, if I had put a lot of detail on the boats, stripes and, cannon or something on here, all of that, it's going to, the more complicated the thing I've created is, the more beneficial it is to use functions. Okay.